The council's admin and policy committee together. Mr. Lanier, it's me and you. If Ms. Howard,
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
okay, so I'll second that. All in favor? First up, recycling plant situation.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chris, you and I discussed this, but let everybody else know what you want to do.
All right, so this stems a little bit from, as both of you know, we have done some upgrades to our plant this year as far as how we process recycling. So far this year, we've taken in a little over 2 million pounds of recyclable goods and sent them through our plant. Some of the changes we've made, we handle a lot of the admin side now. We handle where these materials go and their ultimate goal. Once they're recycled, we ensure that that's good for our environment as well for our city. So this classification already existed. We are asking to upgrade it to pay grades. It falls in line more with the admin side of what we've added to the position. So they'll be more in line with the admin side and making sure the trucks are scheduled for delivery and pickups. And also making sure that the market we're in is the appropriate market at that time.
Are we, and I think the recycling program is a great program, and I think everybody does. Are we breaking even on this?
Recycling's never a, you're not gonna make a lot of money with
I know
recycling.
that, yeah.
The greater good, I would say we're breaking even, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm thrilled to death with breaking even because I read where other places are losing a lot of money.
So we fight that. And that's part of the reason for this classification of this job is we battle to not, move anything that's gonna cost us a lot of money. If we move it, the ultimate good is to get it out of there and get it recycled to where it ends up saving our planet and our environment. But also, we don't want to spend a lot of money doing it, so it does take a lot of legwork to find where we can send this stuff. Close to Alabama, we try to keep it local if we can. We do have some local contacts that help us out, especially Dixie Pulp and Paper and places like that, and we can send cardboard and mixed paper. We definitely shop it around and make sure that we're either breaking even or getting out of it.
I think people need to know that.
It is important, yes, sir.
I make a motion.
All right, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Chris. Appreciate all you do.
No, I agree with them all there.
Mr. Mills,
All right, good afternoon, Council Mayor. We have one applicant today, the on-premise restaurant retail liquor license is SAHBS LLC, applying to DBA Southern Ale House at Dockside. The address is 15129 Marina Drive. The hours of operation, speaking one of the owners, is 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. This is an area review of the location. Second shows the zoning map. Third slide shows the land use map. This is a picture of the floor plan. And the next slide shows the meeting. Fire Marshal Stearns has this occupancy setting on 185 people in the restaurant. And talking with the chief, Tuscaloosa Police Department has no concerns for this application. Chief Lincoln is here to answer the questions as well as the applicant.
you have any questions? I know the Holtz are here. Would one of the Holtz like to speak to us? One of the Mr. Holtz? Well, I'm gonna be nice to you. If your dad came up here, I had some real tough questions. No. So, I take it y'all are gonna be very similar to what you're doing on the farm boulevard.
We're going to be almost the exact same. At the beginning, we saw the whole menu there. It'll be a little bit more condensed as we try to figure out what's going on. As a matter of fact, the 185 is the first time I've seen that number.
That sounds like a lot of people to me.
Our goal is to be able to control that and learn how to run a restaurant out in that little area that doesn't have a lot of businesses or restaurants. So
Y'all, is your hamburger gonna be as good out there as
it'll be
it
the
is?
exact same thing.
Any questions?
No, we good.
All right, that a motion?
Motion. What we just voted up. Go ahead.
We just recommend on
Yeah,
this,
yeah, we
right?
You can,
Motion to recommend.
and I don't want to interrupt that part, there is a little bit of a wrinkle to this, I wanna kinda give y'all a
Oh,
preview on,
please.
cause you'll see something next week, and I don't wanna surprise
Just,
anybody.
you can sit, you can have a seat.
Sure, either that map or the map that was in the packet's fine, I think we'll spread it. So if you saw, will you let you rotate it? Sorry, I didn't save it right. So this is something that will be a little bit new from what council has seen before. And I go back and give a little bit of history. Back in the 60s, when the city decided to build Lake Tuscaloosa, we purchased property up to a certain elevation, all the way around, and then flooded property up to another elevation. That resulted in many areas of the lake, a ring of city property around the lake. Now, in the southern portion of the lake where you have a higher cliff face, that may not be as much. But once you start getting up towards the north and that bank lays down, you may go into, what somebody considers their backyard, maybe 100 feet of city property. In this instance, once the Holt started going through everything, they realized that some of the property of what they've been thinking of their restaurant, kind of their yard, was actually within, or what we call below, the acquisition line. And so I'll get up there and point if I need to, but I'm afraid Ms. Johnson will yell at me for stepping away from the microphone. If you'll look at this part here.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Yes, you do gotta leave.
I have a just basic yellow circle here. This red line is the acquisition line. You'll see up here where the docks and everything are, obviously that's where the water is. What the Holtz came forward and wanted to do is allow people to play cornhole, hang out with their kids while they wait for a table, put other things sort of out there, hang out, be able to order a beer, put your name on the wait list, and walk out there and play cornhole. Maybe one day be able to do other events, weddings, sort of those events out there when the weather is nice. That presented a interesting problem because that's city property. We do this in other parts of city property on a permanent basis to some degree when you look at a sidewalk cafe permit, right? So if their restaurant was located downtown, their outdoor space would quite likely be on city property. They get a sidewalk cafe permit. We also do it on a more limited instance when we have people have events in Government Plaza, or for instance, what we're working on with Kentucky at Snow Hint Park, and that is a permissive use license. And so what we do is it's an agreement between the city and whoever the other party is that sets up all the various rules and says during these dates, times, these conditions, you can use this portion of city property and you can have alcohol on it. The reason that that's particularly interesting here is because one of the things they have to satisfy for somebody to be able to walk off of that back patio with an open beverage and not be committing a crime, they have to have part of that area cordoned off and designated as part of their premises when they apply for their ABC license with the ABC. We actually had a meeting, Mr. Woodson attended from my office and some folks from some various city apartments and a representative of the ABC this morning to come out and look at the location and make sure they were all right, make sure they were satisfied that we could designate the area where anybody could see this is where you can have alcohol and this is where you can't. This all sort of, I guess, came up for the first time, last week? Yes. And so I was charged with figure out a way to make this happen and make it legal. I think our permissive use license is the avenue to go. We want to have that done in time for them to get their ABC license finished with the state and opened by the date they want to open, which is August 1. Obviously, we are in the middle of July. So what we have done, obviously this alcohol license can move forward in its current form. Next week before public safety, with council's permission, what I will do is we are working on, we needed a meeting today to sort of finalize some of the language, but we're working on the license agreement that they will need from the city. And I'd ask that we present the details of that at public safety next week and have it doubled up to go along with their alcohol license with the city for council next Tuesday. But I didn't want to surprise y'all with that and kind of toss it out to you next Tuesday.
Sure.
Any questions that
No.
y'all have about that?
No, I'm good.
Well, we're letting people use the right of way on 14th Avenue, so surely we can work this out. All right, thank you. So do you need a motion to go forward, or is this just discussion?
No, sir, I just didn't want to surprise you.
Yeah, we good.
So, all right. We have a motion, but I'm not even sure. This is just a motion that we approve this, I guess. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. So that will go forward and be on Ms. Howard's committee next week.
Can I go home now?
I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right, Liz, you have something for the facade situation.
That's
This
right,
might
I
take
got
more than
Ms.
5
Kreitz as well. We will not hopefully take 45 minutes. Yes, ma'am. So this is, good afternoon, council. We have been tasked with, council had decided to move forward with, or to explore what it could look like to do a facade and storefront improvement plan. And so city staff has taken a stab at it, looked at it, and with OCA's nod of approval as much as possible, we have tried to come up with a program that we think might could work. We want this to be open for discussion, to hear what y'all want and need out of this program if you were to approve it into the capital budget. What was slated was $300,000 for the next year to see if we could do storefront improvement from out of that fund and working from there. What we have proposed would be,
Well, I think council, one of the biggest things we probably need to sort out right here, right now is, do you wanna go forward with it? And then if we do, then let's talk a little bit about what that could look like and let us go back to the drawing board with things. But I think it got balanced, as I recall, it got moved from finance committee a couple weeks ago, to a discussion point at admin today so that we could sort out if you do wanna go
We
forward
definitely
with
wanna
it.
go
So
forward with it.
yes, I'm interested in moving forward. I've in the past spoke to a few businesses in my district, local owned businesses, that are interested in what this could look like and how this could benefit them. So I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, I think the way it's set up is gonna be an issue for the real discussion.
Well, then let's start that. Let's do it.
All right, do we need a motion for that?
No, we're not done.
We're not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're not even-
Everybody told me they were happy.
No, we've got handouts, you know us.
so we prepared
Oh, I'm bringing them.
a few notes based off of best practices from other communities, and as I said, speaking with Office of City Attorney. And our proposal out of the $300,000 would be to do a $25,000 max request from the applicant, from the business owner, property owner. And they would need to contribute a 20% match to that. You don't have to max the $25,000, you can request $100, you can request $1,000. And you meet the criteria, you apply, city staff would vet it, make sure you're in compliance, and then would present it to council for final approval. It would be the way that we have it outlined is a one-time reimbursement. So you would get your project approved and then submit your receipts at the conclusion of your project, and we would write you a check at the end, once we've approved that you have in fact done what you said.
That's gonna be the problem. Mr. Chairman, hold on a second, man. That's gonna be the problem. If we're gonna, if this, not y'all, to whoever, I mean, so if this program is gonna be really effective and we're gonna help, the districts bring up their business, asking them for upfront money plus the 20%, that's not gonna work. I think, okay, if we want them to invest 20%, fine, but if we're gonna pay it, I think we should go ahead and have money. It was $300,000 set aside initially, right? And so if we have the funds, we should pay our portion, just as long as they commit and pay their 20% upfront. I think all they should be,
I think we'd be saying 20%.
no, they have to pay the 20%.
What was the original?
On the amount that they asked for, request, right? So,
Okay.
What was the original logistics of the facade program?
Are you talking about the facade
Right.
program that was executed by Mr. Howell's office at
Yes.
a long ago time?
Yes, what was the?
That was through that was a federal grant, so this is a
Right, that's
completely
grant.
different
Yeah,
pot
that's
of money.
grant.
Okay.
And so it's a completely different, it's a completely different program in that respect.
Right.
You know, and I was about to defer to Mr. Holmes or Mr. Bobbitt to talk a little bit about the why it needed to be a match program and why it needed to be something else
Yeah.
because of the fact that it is the source of funds, exactly. So,
Okay,
come on, y'all.
thank you.
So let me get this straight in my mind, if you help me. Just for a second. Say, I had a business and I wanted to do $20,000 worth of work on the front. I would have to pay 16.
I don't know that off the top of my
No,
head,
no,
but
you
you
mean
would-
20,000, I know you pay 20%.
you would,
Well, would I pay 80% or 20%?
you pay
20%.
you pay all of it up
4,000.
front. We reimburse you 80% of it.
You'd reimburse 80%.
Of the approved amount from the front end.
Okay.
So there is a set amount that you're requesting and we will not exceed that.
So us, and that, Scott, you can hit the podium if you need to, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, this program is out the door and done if we ask small businesses to pay for their improvements up front, cause I know they don't have it. And I know, you know, and I'm not trust me, I'm not taking it out on y'all, but I'm just saying, they don't have that. So if we really wanna be a help to the people of these communities, that we wanna help improve the looks of their business, also improve our districts, right? We're gonna have to, 80%, we're gonna have to fund the money. If we set aside $300,000 for this program, then if we make them commit to 20%, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them saying, hey, I'll get $4,000 or I'll get $3,000, whatever their commitment is, and we get that up front. But I think we should be responsible for the 80% up front, because I know for a fact if we say we'll reimburse you, 9 times out of 10 of the business won't have the money to do it, and they'll be still in the same position. So
And then they won't.
it's almost like we're putting this out here, but it's.
Mr. Holmes, you seem to want to talk about it.
I wanna
Not
talk to
really.
him. I wanna talk to him. You send the
So-
girls up to fight, man.
so this
Come on, look
is-
good, man.
This is a policy decision for this group. I will give, OCA has tried to help where we can. A lot of what makes that difficult is giving legal advice as to whether or not a program is legal and the program hasn't been decided yet is hard to do. So we've tried to paint some parameters.
So one question, before you do a deep dive, Scott, so is it, so we can legally, if we're gonna do it and reimburse them, we can legally pay the 80% up front as well, right? If they as long as they commit to the, what, 20%?
Legally, as long as we follow our 772 constitutional provisions
Sure.
that I think are going to be required no matter how we do this. Let me give a little bit of background just from what my office deals with. We have a myriad, lots of them come from LaPerry's group of various grants, home loan grants, first-time home buyer grant, all sorts of different home repair grants. And they are a housekeeping and repayment nightmare. And part of my concern would be if we just said, so a maximum of $25,000, 20% of that's gonna be $5,000, so here's your $20,000, go build.
No, I would like to see that paid to a contractor, possibly one out of the T-BOT program. You know what I mean, and they understand that hopefully they have the funds to do the project up front, and we pay them after the job is done. Something like that. I mean, we don't have to just give them to a janky contractor who's gonna run off with the money. That's not what I'm saying. I don't wanna give it to the business owner. I really would like for us to pay the contractor. You know what I mean?
And I understand, just one of the things that, and it's a policy decision for this body.
Sure,
But if we pay that money to any entity up front, and then ultimately they don't comply with the program.
Right.
Our ability to go back and recoup that money, it may be limited, just depending on the circumstances. If nothing else, it will at least be, difficult. But that's something to keep in mind as you decide how you want to plan this. From a legal perspective, could we do an application and somebody come up and say, here's my application, I want my grant? As long as we meet the constitutional provisions, yes, but that may create lots of other headaches on that.
yeah, and I think it's simple, it's simple. If we go about it with the right people that, you know, I don't wanna say we suggest, but whoever contracts this job need to know we pay after the job is done. You know what I mean? So
After the job is
yeah,
done.
so we're not out of
Not
money.
really up front.
We're not out of funds, you see what I'm saying? So that protects us, we know that we're not wasting money, we can expect, you know, like the work and everybody get paid. That's what
So I think what I'm hearing, because where I view us right now is we're getting a little bit of feedback as staff, and we're
Sure.
gonna take about 6 to 8 weeks and help you craft this program and bring you back something that will cause the least amount of headaches for all of us.
Sure.
I think that's
Trust
great.
What I think I heard you say is, and I wanna be clear, that it would still be, the funding would go to that contractor, is that
Sure.
what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
And so instead of your business owner being, or your property owner, I'm sorry, your property owner being responsible on the front end,
Right.
that contractor then becomes responsible on the front end, and we deal with the contractor.
That's what I suggest in order to make sure that we don't blow the money. We give a business owner a check and they run off with it, don't fix the
Sure.
building.
I wouldn't wanna see, I wouldn't wanna see us pay them until they finish the work.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
We would be, so we don't stand
Right.
to lose anything. So there had to be someone capable of funding this project, you know what I mean?
Well, they can get the 20% upfront that's coming from the
Yeah, we need to
property
get a
owner.
commitment from the
They-
business owner.
yeah.
We need,
You
I
need to
would
go,
like
they
to
can
see
get
it.
that
the
to the
commitment
contractor
first.
upfront, yeah.
So what we've suggested in the draft that you've got in front of you, is that it be for a property owner only. It could be, the business owner could be involved,
Right.
definitely, but it would be for the property owner only because it would be looking at that storefront facade,
Right.
the exterior changes, et cetera.
Cause the business I talked to, I spoke with the people who were renting the place and the actual owners, in my district, just to kind of get a idea, you know.
So take a look, since we've kind of worked through that and I'm tracking where you're going on that. Take a look at your draft in front of you as well at the application requirements. What we would be looking for from an application perspective would be things like proof of ownership, a narrative describing the changes, proposed materials, how the improvements benefit the business and surrounding area, just a quick little narrative. Renderings of proposed changes where applicable, and it could be something as simple as a picture with something drawn on it
Right.
in some instances, or a picture that says power washing here.
Sure.
And then to be in good standing with all city departments. We feel like
Right.
that is critical.
Oh, no doubt.
That it needs to be someone who we've not had run-ins with
Right.
in any one of our departments. Are we okay with those
Yeah,
criteria?
definitely. Yeah, that's definitely.
Let me ask you this question, what will happen, Mr. Chair, if I may?
You already
Okay,
have.
if you have, when the business owner and the property owner may differ, how will we be able to?
We move on to somebody who's gonna cooperate.
It's their building.
Yeah, y'all
So
can't
the
get it
property owner
together,
has to-
cool, we got somebody else, we know. I'm just saying.
So, but to this, some of these things would not be real expensive. I mean,
Nah,
pressure wash the exterior of a business
even-
could be $1,000, $2,000.
Sure. But something that could make a huge impact.
Sure, it has, I've seen that in
Oh,
my
yeah.
district. So some of
Like,
these,
windows could be a costly one,
Yeah.
but pressure washing might not be. So we are wanting business owners to take pride in their business, do small improvements that will lead to big change, make it more attractive. Hopefully the neighbors will catch on
Right.
and they'll take some pride in their buildings as well. And so it'll be incremental, it'll be hopefully lasting. And take a look over the draft over the next few days, review it, kind of run through some scenarios in your mind of businesses that you have in mind, and see where the hangups might be, and let us know, because we want this to be a program that is effective for your districts. We want to make sure that it is accomplishing exactly what you want it to accomplish while meeting legal requirements in 772.
If y'all haven't looked, you might wanna look at the, type of businesses that are excluded.
We would propose that some business types be excluded, just quite frankly, it's our typical round of things. We would also, if you'll take a look with me on page 2 of your handout at the general program requirements, this is what we would propose to you, as it is your program, but we would want folks to submit an application, make it an online application. Use city staff as a review body. Let's make sure that everyone has checked the boxes that they need to check. And then we would send it to a committee. And we would recommend that committee probably be community development, because this is a community development centered committee, but if council sees otherwise, we could put it somewhere else, but CD committee seems to be the best fit. The committee would then meet with those applicants, and the committee would decide to award that project or not. And that's what we would suggest for this program, that puts it in your hands and lets you decide further what to do with that money.
Right.
I think this is good.
So.
Do y'all have any,
I'm good with that. Yeah.
you feel better?
I feel great.
Okay.
Can't you see? He's so relaxed.
So, yeah.
If y'all would like us to, we could go back, spend about 6 to 8 weeks. Ms. Dickey, I think that puts us right before Labor Day, right after Labor Day, to come back with something and a recommendation for you.
Okay.
Sure. If you have any questions, just reach out. I know Ms. Lanier is really interested, so.
Yeah.
Keep all of us up to date if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. Miss Benda and I can do that for sure.
I know. And y'all put a lot of work into this, and I appreciate it.
You could even tear this apart.
Any other questions? Do y'all have any more to add?
Not at all.
Do you have any other questions?
No, we're good.
Ms. Howard, anybody?
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank y'all very much, and I do appreciate all this work. I don't believe we have anything else.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?